What's going on, Facebook land? This is Matt Marinoff, Real Estate Recovery Group, and I've got a very special guest today. We actually met, believe it or not, on a line outside of school waiting for the kids to do some type of,
Halloween,
was it
Halloween,
Halloween?
Halloween parade.
Halloween, we started talking or whatever, and I'm looking over, and I'm like, who's this lady with that pink thing on her head? I gotta go talk to her. As I do, because everybody knows how my personality is. I want to talk to her. So without further ado, I want to say her name, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about what she does. And then we're going to ask her questions. We're going to interview her. And I really want everybody to be interactive on this Facebook Live because she is a true inspiration in my opinion. So this is Amrita Khurana, and I call it Amrita, but I always get it wrong. But it's Amrita, correct?
Yeah, I'm right there, Khurana.
Close enough. In any event, I really appreciate you coming on right now because I know you're really busy in real estate and you're actually working from home like most of us. And you've got 3 children. Your husband's actually working from home too, so he's doing Zoom calls. So you guys are probably slowing down the internet over on your side of the block over there in Mawa.
For sure.
I wanted to have you on because I wanted to get your opinion in real estate. So, I've been in real estate for 15 years. And being in real estate in 15 years, I've actually seen the market go bananas as far as the decline in, I was in the beginning when the real estate market was ridiculous, where everybody was purchasing properties and everybody was in a state of mind where, oh my God, I got to buy a property. I don't care. I'll pay $20,000, $30,000 more for the property. And better yet, I'm going to buy a bigger, better house because my mortgage broker said that I can basically have the same mortgage payment, but I can double the size of property I want to the crash of 2007, 2008. And then basically chug along during that process and then basically fast forward to now. So I've been through that. Now, you had stated that your family's always been around in real estate and that yourself, you've been in real estate for 3 years. So there's a reason why I have you on. And the reason is in the last 3 years of real estate that you've been active in real estate, how many transactions have you closed in real estate?
Somewhere around between 50 or 60.
So in the last 3 years, you've done about 50 or 60 transactions in real estate. That's correct? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So let's fast forward to now. What's going on right now? What are you working on, or what is it that might be special, as far as real estate? Are there people out there still buying and purchasing houses?
100%. 100%. I put on 2 listings this last week.
Okay.
I did a buyer consultation over Zoom, and that all equated to about almost $1.7 million worth of transaction volume that I just took on just in this last week of COVID chaos that we're in. So there are people that are very interested in still buying and selling.
Right.
Because life is still happening.
So when somebody uses an excuse, and I'm just going to have to say it like this, when somebody uses an excuse that currently right now, well, nobody's buying, nobody's looking, what would you say to somebody who's in the market that we're in right now? Because this is a type of market that's really going to expose real estate agents that really don't bring anything to the table. And the people that are, in my opinion, rock stars are going to be able to rise up above a down market because anybody can sell a piece of real estate. Right. That's why when people are always like, oh, you're in short sales are dead. You should get your real estate license. Oh, and you should come underneath me. Like real estate to me, selling it like that right now, it's not sexy for me. What's sexy for me is fighting the bank. So I really want to get your opinion or an observation or something that you can offer of value to people that are in real estate right now and struggle, and maybe talk to them a little bit about how they really should get more involved with technology.
Yeah, that's a good question. So before I was with Keller Williams, I was with an independent broker, and that was my first year in real estate. And it was basically a broker with he was the only one in the office, and maybe there were a couple of agents in the office. They didn't do much business, but it was that's where I wanted to be. Technology wasn't a part of the equation. Education wasn't a part of the equation. Nothing really was. It was just me in front of my computer, and I did what I knew how to do, which was nothing.
Right.
technology is key, mindset is key, and understanding and really understanding that times like this,
Mm-hmm.
it is a huge opportunity. And I don't think I really understood it until 3 years into it now. Because
Mm-hmm.
your first question is when you go into real estate is like, what are you going to do if the market crashes? How are you paying your bills? You know,
Mm-hmm.
the first question anybody asks. And my mom was
Mm-hmm.
like devastated when I told her I'm leaving my corporate job at the New York Times to go into real estate. You know, after all the education I got, she's like, really? That's what you want to do? You want to become a realtor? Um, but understanding that this time is critical for mindset and market share. So what I mean by that is if you come into this thinking that or believing that truly there you're going to find opportunities, then you will find them. If you come into this with a scarcity mindset and freaking out that, oh my God, what am I going to do? I can't make any business because nobody wants to buy, nobody wants to sell. You're already going in a couple steps behind. So mindset is going to be key when you approach any type of situation. And of course, we haven't had a situation like this, but we've had economic crises in the past. So mindset is going to be step one. Step two is understanding the data and really having a grip on educating yourself. And by that, I mean, like last night I was listening to a podcast where they talked about how this market will shrink the 2 million or whatever million number of agents there are in the world, right? We're going to lose 50% of the agents. So which category are you going to fall in? Are you going to be that agent who is going to fall off because they can't thrive in this market? Or are you going to be the agent that's going to do whatever it takes to thrive in this market? And once it's over, you're going to be the one that's going to be able to, you survive in this market and you're going to be able to thrive after this market, right?
Right.
Survival is the name of the game in this environment. And how do you survive? Yes, the buyer population or the seller population is going to shrink during a time like this. So people who don't have a need that is determined based on time to sell or buy, they might take a back seat and say, I'm going to watch and see what happens. I don't have to do this right now. But
Mhm.
there's still going to be the other subset, which still needs to do it. Like they still had having the baby and they still need to buy a house. They are still moving jobs from across the country and they need to buy a house and sell the one they have. Or they are getting divorced or they're getting married. There's life is still happening. And those people will still need to make a real estate transaction. So you just need to work smarter and more efficiently to find those people and not work with the 75 other that were the looky loos or 75 other that were just in the market to peruse to see what's going on in the market because they just want to know what's going on in the market, not because they want to make a transaction.
Listen, everything you're talking about sounds really great, and anybody can be, as far as I'm concerned, can be a Monday morning quarterback, and they can offer their opinion, and they can sit on their high horse. I think it all comes down to the sphere, your center of influence,
Mhm.
people that you, and you have to surround yourself with other people that are trying to make shit happen
Yeah.
in this market. Now, you and I instantly clicked when we started talking about real estate, and then your interest really got piqued when I told you that I did short sales and distressed real estate.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the transaction or the person without saying anybody's name, property address, or whatever, of what's actually gone on behind the scenes with the homeowner who's actually in distress with their house?
Yeah. So you caught my attention when you mentioned you worked in short sales and what your company really did to help people in those situations, because that's how I started off my real estate business year one. I ended up purchasing um, zip codes which looked at distressed properties in the surrounding towns. And so I would get calls from people about these distressed properties, and I had to educate myself. Unfortunately, I didn't meet you back then because if I had, like, we would have done so much business together. But I basically took these calls. I studied how foreclosures work, short sales worked, and educated myself the best I could, and then help my clients either make the purchase or find something else. And when I learned that that's what you did, immediately, one of every real estate agent's goals should be to have the right partners in their business.
Mhm.
So you may be a solo agent, but you need to have your go-to person for short sales. You need to have your go-to person for mortgages, whether that's FHA, for one mortgage provider, it could be FHA specialist, the other can be your conventional, whatever. you need to have your go-to resource, an allied resource that's your partner in accomplishing the transaction you wanna do for your client. And so when I didn't have that, and that's what you did, I immediately was like, okay, we need to grab coffee, we need to get together and understand.
Mhm.
And I wanted to learn what you did. And of
Mhm.
course, immediately after, I was like, oh my God, I have a client who is in a very weird situation where they tried purchasing the property, sold their home. The property they were purchasing, they ended up learning after the fact they had a UNO put in place. So they were living inside the property because we
Mhm.
were delaying the closing. So now they're in the new property that they're trying to purchase, learning that there's a lien on the property. The homeowner has died. The wife is there, and they can't, there's no communication. Now the bank is coming into play and saying, you owe all this money. They're not paying their mortgage anymore. The clients are living in the house. It's like a complete web of complications. And I
Mhm.
pulled you in, and it was a very simple equation. Like, you basically got on a call. I got you on a call with my clients and the other agent on the other side, and said, okay, we have a problem. I think Matt's company can be the solution to our problems. Here is how. We sent over the paperwork, and it was like a fluid conversation. Now, if I hadn't met you, I probably wouldn't have been able to execute something like that.
Can we back up? Because anybody who's listening to this are saying, wait a second, they're in the property and they're trying to purchase it.
Yeah.
How did they get into the property in the first place if they didn't buy it yet?
So it's called a user occupancy agreement. They were selling their property. They needed to move out because the closing was happening on their property, and the buyers of their property needed to move in. So they needed a place to go. They could have rented another property, but since this property that they were looking to purchase was vacant,
Mm-hmm.
we proposed, let's do a user and occupancy agreement. And the attorneys put that agreement together saying, okay, these people can move in as, tenants of the property and pay rent
Mm-hmm.
until the closing actually happens.
Okay.
So it's a win-win.
So did the bank understand or know the fact that you actually, or the tenants were potential buyers, um, were living in the property? Did they have an understanding that that was happening?
The bank had no idea what was going on. The bank usually never has any idea what's going on, which is why you come into the picture. I feel like banks are so in another world, and we're in another world, and communication is the challenge. That's why I
Mhm.
think having someone like you or your company be the middle person or the spokesperson is critical.
So what I'm going to do is, if somebody wants to reach out to you because you publicly put your information out there, I'm going to do one step better than that.
I'm all over Facebook. I'm all over LinkedIn, IG. You can find.
Well, here, so this is what I'm going to do. People want to reach out to you directly if they want to friend you directly, if they have any questions regarding real estate, how the hell you made that jump from corporate America, got into real estate, did 50 plus transactions in the last 3 years. I'm
Yeah.
putting your information out there. You know, every day at 12 o'clock, I'm doing these Facebook Lives of people of interest to show other people that are out there there really are people that truly do care.
Yeah.
One of the things you said to me, which I thought was pretty amazing, was, Matt, I'm going to come on. I want to offer some advice. I don't care what real estate agency somebody is from. If they want to reach out to me and talk to me and they're looking for help or guidance, totally here.
Yeah.
You know, it's great to surround yourself with people that genuinely really care. So, guys, I'm going to leave. I took my information down and I put, Amrita's information up here. You can reach out to her on Facebook. You can friend her, or you can text her direct, or you can call her on her cell phone, and you can speak to her because she has an amazing story that she's sharing for people that just came on. Where she left corporate America. Um, you stated that the job didn't fit your need any longer, and that maybe wasn't fulfilling enough.
Mhm.
And that, what was the paradigm shift in your physical life that you said, you know what, I'm done with being, I don't want to work for New York Times anymore. Did you always have that entrepreneurial uh, take in your blood? Is that something that you guys learned? What is that?
No. So my family, yes, but not me. My brother's an entrepreneur, but it wasn't something that I didn't have that DNA. And my spouse, actually the person I married, was not into that at all either.
Did he think you were? Did he think you were nuts when he said you wanted to make?
No, he was actually very, very supportive, shockingly, because I was the one who was doubting myself. And he was like, nope, I think the timing is right. he said to me, and he said that if you take the plunge now and do it and fail, we'll just go back into corporate, and at least you gave it a shot. So he was extremely supportive, but it's not something he did. It's not something I did. I have a family of people who've done entrepreneurship, and some failed, some were successful, but nobody that did real estate. I mean, my uncles came into this country like in the 60s and started purchasing real estate and became landlords. And so that's how real estate was always a conversation in our house. I picked up my first condo when I was in college. My mom picked up a couple. My brother picked up a couple. So we were always in that realm of real estate. But nobody in my family has ever been a realtor. And that's why I was like, you're going to leave the New York Times to become a real estate agent. It was like frowned upon, because realtors have a bad reputation, unfortunately,
Real estate agents have a bad reputation?
Shocker, right?
You better stop that right now.
So let me tell you another stat why we have that reputation. Well, not we, but some agents have that reputation. So out of all the agents out there, only 10% of the agents out there are really doing 90% of the business out there.
That's a good point.
So what does that say?
Mm-hmm.
And the fail rate. I mean, everybody, the bar is so low to become an agent. Anybody and their mother can become an agent. It's so easy, but then to be able to thrive in it and be successful is a completely different ball game.
It's funny the way you said that 10% of 90% of real estate agents.
Yeah.
So, I love when I hear people talking about real estate. The majority of the time, like my wife will grab my hand and she's like, please don't get involved. And the majority of the time I don't get involved until maybe the end of the conversation, because I want to give people enough rope to really hang themselves. And the conversations usually go like this. The market's horrendous. People aren't qualified. I'm showing people properties that are not qualified to purchase properties. I'm paying for leads that are complete garbage. I have no social presence on social media. Like, they're saying everything is like, if it was like an interview and it was a before and after, it's usually the before, where I'm hearing people speak about how they have zero confidence. They don't know how to approach people. They don't know how to get listings. They don't know how to find out how to get real qualified buyers. With all the technology that's out there in the universe right now, I have to tell you, if you own one of these things that they call a smartphone, it's right there. So really what it all comes down to, and I know I'll probably get backlash from it. My wife's a real estate agent. You say that there's 10% of real estate realtors that are doing the job. 90%, are not.
Right. They're just not doing majority of the business. They do a sale here, a sale there.
Right. So I'm looking at it as, and I'm putting this up there because this is for 10% of realtors doing the job of 90% are not. So basically 10%, 10 out of 9. That's 1 out of 9 people that are really treating this like a true profession.
Right.
And this is what I talk about all the time. And people are like, I don't get it. When you're a real estate agent, you're an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
If you don't get that you're an entrepreneur as a real estate agent, you're in the wrong industry.
Yeah.
Anything that you're considered a 1099, commission-based driven, I mean, you're a copier salesman, you're an entrepreneur, right? You're somebody that sells space in a magazine and you don't have a job, a regular commission. Not a commission. You don't have a regular salary, W-2 employee. Maybe a small draw versus a commission. You're an entrepreneur.
Right.
People don't treat their businesses like they're entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
People in industry, in business, treat themselves like they have a sense of entitlement.
Yeah.
I'm a realtor. I passed my real estate class. I passed Board of Ethics additional training. I passed. I. All here's I.
Yep.
So when you have that type of mentality, you're never going to grow. Every time I've spoken with you or telephone, text, in person, whatever, you always have the same mindset. And that mindset is, how can I help somebody?
Yeah.
How can I help others? How can I help other individuals? You said to me when we sat down at the diner, shout out to State Line Diner in Malon, New Jersey on Route 17 North, open 24 hours a day. You basically said to me, you know other real estate agents that need to know about me. You said that people need to know that there's a source like myself and my company out there.
Yeah.
I try to help as many people as I can. And sometimes people take what I say and how I say things the wrong way, and they really shouldn't. At the end of the day, it's about helping people. It's about showing them a certain path that they need to go down. And unfortunately, I think that in nature, people as a homeowner panic. You're renting. Your rental payment is $1,500 a month. You're buying a house.
Yeah.
Your payment is $2,300 a month. You rented, you panicked. You bought, you panicked. You're panicked every single day about keeping your job, keeping a roof over your head. If you can't balance work and life, you're going to be a mess forever. I believe everybody, and at one point in my life, I actually did go through therapy for myself. I think there's nothing wrong with
Everybody needs to go to therapy. Everybody.
People need to.
Human, you need therapy.
What's that?
You're human, you need therapy. It's just that simple.
When you're a computer, you're programmed a certain way. You're programmed to be a certain way, correct?
Yeah.
So when you go to school and you go and you get an education, you're getting an education to go out and get a job. Nobody's teaching you how to be an entrepreneur. If you were lucky enough to be an amazing student, get a scholarship, partial scholarship, your parents burned through their life savings, begged, borrowed, and stealed, worked overtime, two part-time jobs to put you to college for you basically to get a job. So I'm happy that we are in an environment now where people are always talking about, you can have your regular job. There's nothing wrong with a side hustle. And that I think people need to realize that at any given time you could lose your job.
Yeah.
So what happens if 3 years ago you were still at the New York Times?
I'm sure even before the 3 years, they were doing layoffs and stuff, and the team I was on was being impacted. And so I was like, I just raised my hand and I said, oh, look, if that's going to happen, if it's coming, choose me. I'm going to go. Let's make this work for both of us.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to get severance. I was able to, take advantage of that situation, have an exit plan. I had 3 months. I built a financial plan for my real estate business. I built a marketing plan for my real estate business. I studied it like you wouldn't believe. And I don't mean the exam. Like the exam is just one component of this business. But then it's like the real studying becomes when you want to understand, how does a transaction work? What does it mean to be a buyer's agent? What does it mean to be a seller's agent? What does it mean to run a real estate business? Do you have a P&L? Like how many agents if you were to ask them, who has a P&L? Who is tracking their business? What kind of systems are you using? Oh my God, my first year in the business, people would talk about systems and models. And I was like, what the heck? What systems? What models? Like, what are you talking about? And now I'm saying the same thing. Do these people have systems and models? And what kind of system? Okay, well, I'll give you one quick example. It's not a pretty one, but that's my whiteboard back there. That's one of my systems where I track my business on what's happening, who do I need to follow up with? And then I have that same exact thing in a tool I'm using digitally. Like I use a platform called Command.
Is that your desk behind you? What is that behind you?
No, this is my bedroom. It's my makeshift. That's my
I
whiteboard.
love the fact. What side of the bed do you sleep on? That side or the other side?
I sleep on this side, the right.
You sleep on the other side.
I sleep on this side, but the board is across from me.
So you literally look over your husband at night, and in the early morning when the dawn light is breaking through the window, you're already looking at your vision board.
Yeah, I can't. It's
freaking amazing.
I think this is not something you do if you don't love what you do. Like I work all the time, In fact, recently, nowadays, because the market
Do you call it work? Tell me the truth. Does it really work?
well, let me finish the sentence. I work all the time and I don't feel like I work. I don't feel like I work, which sounds crazy. I'm working harder than I've ever worked, especially right now. Even in the 3 years I've been an agent, yes, I'm working harder than I did when I was in corporate. But in the past 3 years, I'm working harder now during this COVID shift than I've ever worked before. But I don't feel like I'm working. And real estate's just always going in my head. It's just what I love to do. So when you love what you do, yes, money comes in as a byproduct of that, which is a wonderful thing. But I love what I do. Like I could talk about real estate all day long. And when you love what you do, you can't not succeed. And I was in positions at the times or elsewhere where I was struggling to succeed. I was struggling to really find my passion. I remember talking to my managers all the time, like, yeah, I'm okay. My review's great. I get my raise, but the passion's not there. Like it was a constant conversation. And here I am now, the passion is on fire. Like I love it. And because I love it, I'm able to be successful. And maybe that's why it's not everybody can do this. Maybe that's why it's a 95% fail rate.
I think when people have a 9 to 5 mentality in an entrepreneurial world, they're just not going to be successful. You can't have a 9 to 5 mindset and be successful as an entrepreneur. You just
it's a double-edged sword to be an entrepreneur, because you come into this thing where you have no boss, you have no set schedule unless you implement it. So you have all this freedom, which is wonderful. But if you have no discipline to go with it, you're screwed. You're screwed. You're not going to succeed.
100%. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
What are you using to stay relevant right now in real estate? Stay, razor sharp focused. It's one thing when you're home during the day and drinking a cup of coffee. Maybe your husband's home for the day, working from home. Maybe he's not. Versus having, basically a herd of people in the house.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everybody's quiet. I mean, did you basically tie everybody up and gag them and throw them in a closet?
No, we, with our kids, we talk about the changes that are happening. So everybody knows what's happening, obviously, because we're quarantined. But everybody also has their quarters. So my oldest son uses the setup downstairs in the basement during the day, and he'll do his thing. My husband will take the office and do his thing. And we'll communicate. Like he's got a leadership call from 10 to 12. I don't care if the house is burning down. Please don't call me. Talk to your mom. Like we set it's all about expectations, just like you would with a client. So we do it with my 5-year-old. Like I told him, I'm going into my room. It's off limits. The door is locked. Don't come knock on my door. And so we find quarters, and that's kind of the thing you have to do. You have to roll with the current situation. You have to find your bunker and stay in your bunker. And sometimes the bunkers switch. You got to be flexible. And this is a teaching opportunity for the children that are watching us now, right? Like, if I overreact to a situation, they're gonna internalize that, and they're gonna say, okay, well, COVID is happening, my mom is overreacting, and I'm gonna take that stress on. Or I could be like, we just have to roll with it, guys. Like, COVID is happening, we're gonna have to make it work. So you need to learn how to make it work. That's a learning moment. Yes, I'm not going to be the best second grade teacher that my kid has at school, but I can teach them other things probably a little bit better because we're living through it. So there's opportunities in this. There's so many opportunities in this.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard that ding on my computer or not, but basically I just got a message that popped up on my screen. It says, we're going to closing. So for me, like, when somebody says to me, transactions are not closing right now, people are freaking out. I think people, not that they need to be grabbed a hold of and shaken, but they need to really change the sphere of influence that they have. They need to really get rid of the negative people in their lives, focus on the positive, focus on family, focus on, building your book of business. Now, look, like I said before, you have to be an entrepreneur in this industry, but it really applies to any industry. What pains me and scares me for the general public is that anybody who's been a real estate agent in the last, and I'm going to say maybe 8, 9 years, have no idea, no concept of really what's going to happen in our market share and how a shift is going to happen and how people need to be creative. Technology is everything
Yeah.
in our world. And I'm going to give you an example. You know, back in the day, this is how people used to communicate with people.
Yep.
Okay. This phone literally has dust on it, you know. And the
Yep.
reason why I say that is because now this is how people communicate today,
Yep.
right? There's a lot of people that are old school and still have flip phones or they have new technology, but they're not utilizing it. Don't voicemails. This is Harry. Leave a message. Please do not text me. I don't understand text messaging. I'll get back to you. And it's beep, and that's it. So you can't reason with people that don't understand that there's always going to be some type of shift
Yeah.
in the marketplace. So
Yeah.
if the wind blows in a certain direction, hey, look, the market was ridiculous. The market is still ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about.
I put something on the market on Sunday, which was what? Easter weekend, right? Saturday or Sunday. I put it on the market. I have an offer today. Like that's the market right now. There are people who need to purchase or sell. So that was a listing I took. I put it on the market so that the seller needed to sell, put it on the market. And there's a buyer who came in, looked at it, and made an offer. And this is day 3. Today's Tuesday, day 3. And there's still 4 showings happening. So the market is moving. You need to just make sure you're looking for your clients in the right place that are motivated.
Mm-hmm.
That also doesn't mean you misguide your clients. So I have $7 million worth of transaction volume that was scheduled to go into play that has paused. Mm-hmm. And I'm okay with that pause. I'm not pushing them to say,
so no, you're not falling apart.
No, it's pause. It's not gone. It's not, I didn't lose it. It is paused. And what I think, and I don't know much because I've only been in the business 3 years. I have not had a economic crisis that I've dealt with before, but this is my understanding of studying history of these and surrounding myself with really, really smart people. Going to your point, you're a product of the 5 people that you surround yourself with. So make sure you're surrounding yourself with people who are motivated and driven and like focused, not, the whiners and complainers. But my understanding is the real estate market has paused. It is still moving and shaking. It's just doing it differently. Business is being done differently. It may be done slowly. There may be a drive-by closing instead of an in-office sit-down closing, but it's still happening. So can you be a part of what's happening? And then once this is done, are you going to be prepared with whatever you need to have to be able to hit the ground running? And you are going to hit the ground running because there's going to be pent-up demand. We came into this with very low inventory, especially below this, $800,000-$900,000 mark. It's such like there's no inventory. So we came into this problem with no inventory. We're going to have a lot of buyers with pent-up demand that didn't execute during this time. And when we come out of it, it's going to be like, oh my God, where are the houses we need to buy? And will there be an influx of listings coming on? Possibly. We could have more competition for sellers, but it's going to be moving. This didn't come about through a real estate or housing crash or a mortgage crash or a financial crash. I do think, though, where the jobs will be, the economic security will impact how much people buy, how quickly will people buy? Sure, yes. Then there's the other side, the over the $1 million property that was slow and not moving as fast and didn't have as much demand will probably see an uptick. I'm seeing an uptick right now in that demand because people from Hoboken, from West New York, from New York City are now starting to be like, oh shit, we need to get out and move into the suburbs. And that was not there before. That is a result of this COVID. So that's an opportunity in my mind. That's great. That's good news. But you have to have that mindset to see the good in the crap you're faced with.
So when I was running a national for sale by owner service in the early 2000s, and the mortgage company was crushing it. I ran a marketing division, and we were going after people that were selling the properties for sale by owner. And we were nationally recognized within the organization probably every single month because of the efforts that everybody put forth. But I was the driving force out in the street, speaking with people that were selling the properties for sale by owner. During that time frame, there were people that were personal trainers,
Hmm.
dental hygienists, anybody that you could think of had a job. Their side hustle was pushing mortgages to people. And could you imagine being in the gym working out? Not lately, obviously, but being in the gym and working out and hearing somebody who's a personal trainer give a spiel about how they're doing mortgages,
Right.
how you what you can purchase for your dollar amount, and you could tell it was the basics to get them to speak with someone who actually wrote the mortgage, and they got whatever they got as far as share of money.
Right.
My brother-in-law was telling me he was on a plane once, I believe going to California, and he was listening to people who were buying Maseratis, who were buying high-end, jacked up AMG Mercedes Benz that really had no provable income, stated everything, and he had already been through, you know, the '80s when things went ballistic back then. So, you're everything happens for a reason. So you
Hmm.
fast forward to today's market, I've seen it. I deal with people that have seen it multiple times in the industry. So one of my predictions was 2020, 2021, there was going to be an adjustment in the market.
Hmm.
And the reason why was very simple. It wasn't because of an actual real estate crash, it was because of the adjustments
Yeah.
of the loan modifications that people had done in uh, 2013, 2014, that was a complete disaster. And now those properties are starting to actually get pushed out
Right.
into, gen population, along with, shadow inventory that's still out there from 2008. So people don't really understand, you got a trifecta of shit coming at us between shadow inventory, failed loan modifications, and COVID-19.
Yeah.
So it really is the time where the people that are amazing in this industry are going to last. The
Correct.
people that understand how the shifts in the market are going to last. Look, if you're really good at selling real estate, but you can approach people, team up with someone.
Yeah.
If you
There's
know,
so many options on how to execute this business. There's endless options. You just need to be with the right team, and team meaning brokerage. You need to be the right place where you can have the education you need to understand
yeah,
and then know what the options are and where
yeah,
your skill set fits those options.
yeah.
That's critical.
Um, I'm actually writing notes based on what we're talking about. So, for people that are watching right now, they may or may not have questions. I'd like to open it up to Q&A. If somebody has a question that they want to ask you directly, I would think this would be an amazing time to do it. Now, whether they're going to do it or not, I don't know. Now,
And I may or may not have the answer. So,
I have this set up on 4 different platforms,
mhm.
but unfortunately, for whatever reason, sometimes the information comes up and you could actually see the questions, and sometimes you can't.
Okay.
So, there are people watching right now, but nobody's really dropping any questions. Does anybody have any questions, any concerns at all for Amrita, so they can?
I can talk about resources, things I use, tools that are helpful to me.
Yeah, I think it would be great that if people would actually reach out to you afterwards,
Yeah.
they could text you, they could get you on social media, they get you on Facebook. So
So I'll tell you a quick story while we wait for people to ask questions. I
that,
had a random person tag me on Facebook. There was a woman who posted a question in one of these general community Bergen County pages or something.
mhm,
Something about real estate. And this one woman that I know met once, dropped my name and said, "You need to speak to her." So
mhm,
the woman connected with me. We texted on Facebook, the direct message on Facebook, texted on um, over her phone, met for coffee. And
mhm,
basically, the bottom line was she was petrified of switching careers, but that's what she wanted to do. She wanted to see if she would be successful in real estate. So we
mhm,
talked about her, what does she do today from what I know? And I know very little.
mhm,
And basically, I was able to tell her, look, based on what I can tell, I think you will. But here, why don't you take a test? It's not a personality test. It's KPA test where you assess a person's behavior and nature to see what role they would naturally succeed in based on their
Mhm.
skill set. And she like just one direct message led to her basically having a transition plan on leaving her current career and
Mhm.
switching over to real estate. She's a mother, kids, like something I've been through. So it was like, and I was happy to do it. I don't get anything from it. Like I don't
Mhm.
charge her a fee for it. I
Mhm.
wish I had more of that. I had one person who was very helpful to me, but he was across different states. He was in Maryland. But thank God I had him because he was my go-to person. You always need a go-to person when you're coming into this, especially if you're new. You know, if you're seasoned, great, you know what you're doing. But if you're
Mhm.
new, you need a resource. You need many resources
Mhm.
throughout the
All right, so hopefully people will see that.
path.
We don't have much time left.
Okay.
I appreciate the fact that obviously that you came on and that you're offering your advice. Guys, I have a lot of respect for this young lady who's on right now. The fact that she took the courage, the leap to leave corporate America, to follow something of a dream that she wanted. She really wasn't an entrepreneur, but took the leap with the faith of her husband, having three children. Uh, I mean, you're an entrepreneur. You work out of your house, so for all practical purposes, you are a stay-at-home mom. Uh,
I'm
am I
everything
wrong?
in between. I work out of my car. I've written offers on the side of the road because it was that urgent. I work where I need to work. I go with my computer wherever I go, whether it's, I mean, I go on vacations, I go with my computer because business is happening. Business doesn't stop. Real estate doesn't stop for anybody. And I think that's one of the key things that made me probably better off in the beginning, where I didn't fall into that 90% who could have not succeeded, was because I had a sense of urgency of people's time and money. And this is their biggest transaction. And when there's multiple offers, it can't wait an hour. It can't wait 30 minutes. And hence I pull over on the road and I connect to my hotspot on my phone and I'll write an offer. Like you just got to do what you got to do.
So, do you think you have any regrets leaving corporate
Oh
America?
God, no, no. I haven't looked back. I
What
am
was, what
so
was it like in the morning when you left? Was it dark
complete
out?
shit show. My house was a disaster. I struggled. My mornings were harder. I wasn't surrounded by entrepreneurs and business people who um, talked about a morning routine. Like, what is a morning routine? What is a morning ritual? Like, all these things were very like airy fairy to me. And
Hmm.
the more I started listening to people who are successful, I
Hmm.
wanted to understand, why are you successful? What did you do? What was your magic pill that
Hmm.
made you so successful? And it was like little tidbits here, like
Hmm.
getting up early. Oh, my problem was I couldn't get up early. Like I'm not a morning person. Okay, well then start the night before. That's when your morning plan starts.
Right.
Discipline, like
Hmm.
hello, I come from a religion that practices discipline, yet I'm not a disciplined person. And that's a
Right.
growth I experienced coming into this. So I have grown in the last 3 years more than I have grown in my entire adult life. Like that's a big statement to make.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So obviously, most people might not be able to relate to your story. Um, I'm a man; I can relate to your story. Uh, is your husband still supportive? Does he feel like he built a monster?
He's like, you let me know when I can retire. So I made him get his license. He has his real estate license, and then if he wants to jump in when he retires, he can. But he loves watching me do what I do because it makes me happy.
He's,
So
he's proud of you.
yeah, he is. He's very proud of me. Yeah,
I mean, look, it's amazing to have 50% of a relationship backing you. There's a lot of people that are in this industry where there is no backing.
correct.
There's a lot of struggling people that are out there right now, unfortunately, that don't have the support of their husband or their wife, significant other,
Yeah,
partner, anything, and
but
they're
And that's okay. Some people don't have that, and that's okay. That doesn't mean you still can't be successful. You just need to find that support in
Exactly.
the organization you're with, whatever organization that is.
Right.
Find it where that organization is going to be your true support system. Like ever since this happened, there's been like series of webinars that are available for us to attend all day long. Like from Gary Keller, who runs this massive company, is coming on regularly to speak to us
Gary
about
Keller. Who's Gary Keller?
who's Gary Keller, the owner of Keller Williams.
Never heard of him.
Never, yeah, like who is that? Only owns so much massive market share in the past few years. It's been insane how this man has like, made this company grow. But like from him down to other agents that are successful. My point is, they're offering all these educational seminars. Be where you can learn, absorb. You are never going to be so accomplished that there is no more room for learning. There are agents that are high producers that are running teams across different states within the country, and they still attend these webinars. The webinars will change, but your learning should not stop.
So let me ask this question: COVID-19, did it kill real estate?
No, it changed real estate. Some of the changes are temporary, others are going to be more permanent. I think there's some positive that's going to come out of the changes. Like right now, when I speak to a buyer, we're not getting in a car and going to look at 10 houses. That is not happening. Now the protocol for me, which will be the protocol moving forward, will be, let's identify what your criteria is. Let's look at the houses that you have shown interest in. And now I cross-check more diligently than I did in the past and say, you said you wanted a finished basement. This doesn't have a finished basement. Should we be looking at this house? And we discuss that criteria again. Or if these are the top 3 or top 5 things you said you had to have in order to purchase a house, but this house doesn't have this 5th thing, are we changing the list of the 5 things you wanted? Or are we looking at the wrong house? So we rule out a lot of this before we would walk into the house. I make them do a drive-by of the house, of the street, of the neighborhood. There's no need for me to schedule an appointment, show you the house, you drive up and realize, oh, you don't like the street. It's got a steep driveway, whatever it is. Let's do that beforehand. Look at the seller's disclosure. Is there anything that's going to scare you from that and prevent you from moving forward? Okay, we crossed all those things out of the way and you're still interested. Now we can go in and maybe do a virtual showing before going into the house, because we're in this limited environment. So there are some changes I think will last. Like this pre-qual I'm doing, I will carry this forward moving forward. Virtual showings, I think there's nothing better than face-to-face. You know that you can't beat that, and that's just the human nature of this business. And I wouldn't want to replace that with virtuality, but where you can be more efficient and smarter to run your business, those things you can carry out. This is a temporary change.
So this is what I'm going to say. If somebody before is, used to doing real estate the old way, and they're not tech savvy, and let's say you're getting up there in age a little bit, but you got to book a business. I don't think retirement should ever be an option. I think that there's a way where, you can shift your marketing campaign and you can bring people on to work with you. There was somebody in this area, which I'll discuss offline, who actually left the real estate industry, which I thought was a tragedy, because that person was a very strong influencer in our area. And really all they needed to do was to bring somebody on who was very tech savvy.
Right.
And could have taken it to another level and still, reap the benefits of building a real estate business after 20, 30 years versus just leaving. And I hear that a lot from older agents. I can't compete with younger agents.
But they don't have the right resources. So, and I'm not trying to sell Keller Williams, but I've never heard of any other agency talk about the 7 levels of production, right? The 7th level is you step out of production and you just watch the business happen. You're
Right.
not in the business anymore. You're just managing the business from here. And if you have a good book of business, you've implemented something obviously right, take that, bring somebody on to take that on, and then that person brings the other piece that you're missing to take this business to the next level. And you don't even need to be in it. You don't need to be on the field. You're just in the background watching the business happen. But who taught you that? Did anybody go out? You know, like there are people who are
I'm going to tell you something that's going to shock you.
What's that?
99% of the people that are going to watch this video are going to do zero.
Yep.
There's only going to be a 1%. It's always that 1% that
That's
actually.
always the case, no matter what video you talk about, what class you talk about. That's always the case. You can have a class. We watch all these seminars.
Right. Only the strong are going to survive in this real estate industry, in my opinion, in the next 10 years going forward. You're going to see a lot of older people that don't want to adapt to the environment that we are in, which is called technology.
Yep.
Technology is going to make it so much easier for people to communicate and offer services that normally wouldn't have been able to be done. And I'm going to leave it on this note that if you're in a market share and you are, in production and you're trying to push real estate in your quote unquote realm, and you're not willing to go outside your realm and experience the education that's out there, listen, it could be the Keller Williams, it could be the EXPs, it could be the Coldwell Bankers, it could be the Weikerts, it could be the Century 21s, it could be all the mom and pops. It doesn't really make a difference. At the end of the day, if you don't have that inner glow of being an entrepreneur and want to take your business to a next level or get in the game, like you said, 10% are doing 90% of the work in real estate. You're just going to be a person who has a real estate license,
Right.
and you're really not going to be able to thrive. So I would suggest in the next 10 years or so, I think people really need to focus on their abilities with technology and being able to, think outside the box. Like right now, you have the ability that if people want to go see real estate properties, and you might know in the back of your head, maybe only 4 or 5 of them really what they want.
Yeah.
Throw them 15 properties or virtual tours. Let them look at it.
Yep.
You're going to look at it. You might get surprised. That 3 or 4 might jump up to 6 prospects. But now you're cutting down the curve, and these people are actually seeing what's out there with all the technology. And the technology, I don't think is making people stupid. I think it's making them smarter. Now, do I remember anybody's cell phone number? Of course not. That's because a smartphone made us all stupid. But people are missing the element. The technology is only going to begin to thrive more and more every single year, and people need to gravitate towards it and stop running away from these. I can't. My wife doesn't support me. My husband thinks I'm an idiot. My husband's going to leave me. Or my wife's going to leave me. Whatever it is. Honestly, you just need to get your shit on straight. And if you need to get therapy, or if you need to talk to individuals like you or me to get your shit straight in this industry, do it. And honestly, if somebody's not going to support you, regardless of whatever it is, you like to wash cars, you like to paint houses, you like to lay floors, you like to sell real estate, you want to sell a copy machine, you're getting marketing and advertising, regardless what it is, it all comes down to the family unit. And if you don't have a family unit, and it can be you and your dog, and if it's just you and your dog, then it's really just you. Point I'm trying to make is a change is only going to happen within you. And if you can't do that, you're not going to be as successful in anything.
Right.
Any last parting words you want to give people?
Do it with passion. If you're not in it for the real reason, and the real reason can't be money, I don't think that's going to give you the success. Do it because you want to do this, either because you want to help people or you love real estate. Do it because you want to, and then have your accountability partner, have your coach, and you don't have to pay for a coach. You can find somebody within your office or across offices that would be willing to talk with you once a week. Mastermind with people. Surround yourself with people that are successful. These are the things that are going to help, especially in a time like this.
Amrita, I appreciate you coming on today. At the end of every video, I ask people to do the point. So I'd like to see if you can do the point. I love you. You nailed it. It's a perfect 10. Thanks so much for coming on. Hold on one sec. I'm going to go off the live. Hang on one second.